Ken Trahan along with Renee Nato getting set for action. St. Augustine has won the toss, and the Purple Knights have elected to receive. Archbishop Rummel will kick off and defend the south goal. Rummel is 5-3, 2-2 in District 9-5A. St. Augustine is 5-2 and 2-2 in 9-5A. Kicking off for Rummel here this afternoon will be Eddie Fuchs, and deep to receive for the Purple Knights is Albert Taylor. Very dangerous return man for the Purple Knights. Rummel adorned in their red jerseys, as you see, white stripes, white headgear with the R, white pants as well. St. Augustine in their white jerseys, purple numerals trimmed in gold, purple headgear and purple pants. It's turned into a partly cloudy day as we speak. Wind is fairly brisk blowing across as we speak. And here's the kick by Fuchs, and it travels to the 5-yard line. Here's Taylor. Up the middle, 15. Cuts back 20 with a hole. To the 25, 30. Breaks a tackle. He's outside of the 40. Albert Taylor to the boundary is out of bounds at the 48-yard line with a huge return. And the Purple Knights have a great start to this one. And they go on offense for the first time. Albert Taylor will be a prominent member of that offense. Let's check the St. Augustine offensive football team. It is a very potent one, but first let's watch this return, Renee.
Yeah, what an explosion by Albert Taylor. He's very dangerous, Kenny. He's 4.5 speed. He finds the lane inside. Good blocking. Gives him an open lane. Breaks a couple of tackles right there. Shows some good leg drive. Keeps the feet pumping and gives the Purple Knights excellent field position on the opening drive.
The quarterback is number 12, Michael White, the senior, 6'2", 192. And they open in a full house backfield. Taylor dots the power I formation. And rolling that way is White. He wants to run the football. Strung out, and he is ripped and dropped for no gain on the play. 49, Chris Block, the middle linebacker, pursuing laterally. The 5'11", 200-pound sophomore is able to make the stop. Let's check the St. Augustine offense for you. We mentioned that Michael White is the quarterback. The Purple Knights are big. Up front, Horace Williams, Terrell Simon, and Albert Jones are all big. Williams at 288. Dean, Hamilton, and Owens complete the front for the Purple Knights. Costello, Hankton, and Bush are the wideouts. Arrington, the running back, along with Taylor. Michael White is the quarterback. Second down and 10. Purple Knights at their own 48, just underway. Twin receivers right and left. A 4 wideout set. Arrington, the lone setback. And he'll get the carry left. Arrington to the boundary, has some room. Across midfield into Raider territory to the 47-yard line, and that's where Jeff Lambert, the strong side linebacker, the 6', 210-pound senior, wraps him up. We'll take a look at the Rummel defense. The Raiders have a pretty good defense. In fact, coming off of a game in which Holy Cross scored just 3 points. Cliff Gurley and Gene Sangerson alternate outside. Irwin, Jeremy Pratt, and Loyacano up front for the Raiders. And the linebackers for Rummel are probably the strength of their defense. Clark, Lambert, and Kirkley, their top 3 leading tacklers on the team. The secondary has Lamy, Maenza, Roussel, and Wiltz. It is third down and 5, the 47-yard line, Rummel territory. White under center. Again, a 4 wideout set. And a quick throw, and it's caught by Taylor, and Taylor is into the clear. He's down inside the 20 to the Rummel 19-yard line. First down, Purple Knights, and a gain of 28 as White connects with Taylor before Lambert makes the stop.
Well, Lambert was in just now as he showed blitz, Ken, and it left a crease behind Lambert and inside the cornerback. You can see Lambert's right in here, right behind him, and that's where the pass was completed to Taylor for a nice gain of first down inside Rummel territory.
White, an outstanding passer, 4th and 5A in passing in the metro area, 73 of 141, 1,098 yards, 14 touchdowns, 52% completion percentage from the 19-yard line. Wide side, still the right side of the field. That's the strong side of the formation. Looks like a busted play. White, though, gets some yardage near the 15 before he's driven back. David Kirkley was there. Jeff Lambert was there for Rummel. Good job by White of making something out of what was obviously a miscommunication.
Well, Ken, they went to a 5-man front that time, and Kirkley was on the outside. You can see number 49, Chris Clark, only linebacker near the line of scrimmage. And Kirkley coming from his down position, making the tackle, along with some help, and for a short gain. Second and about 7 yards to go. But nice drive thus far by the St. Aug Purple Knights, highlighted by that big pass.
Very nice. They're now at the Rummel 15, 2nd and 7, just underway, approaching the 9-minute mark of the first quarter. St. Augustine is threatening. Again, the Purple Knights spread them out. 4 receivers, 2 to each side. Arrington, the lone setback. Rummel blitzing. White with a snap, in trouble, and down. The blitzing middle linebacker, Chris Clark, collects the sack. He is the third leading tackler. He's going to be a special player for Rummel, just a sophomore. He returned a fumble 48 yards for a touchdown and a win over Carver in a game you saw on WHNO earlier this season.
Good play as he shot between the blockers and clock. Only a sophomore, shows a lot of savvy, and he ran to the ball very well. Kenny, he had 12 tackles against South Lafourche. He is a very active linebacker, and the blitz worked for the Rummel Raiders.
Loss of 10, 3rd and 17 at the 25. Again, they spread them out. Rummel with a 4-man front, standard defensive front. Not blitzing, the quick hitch, caught in the flat, and shaking tackles to the 15, down to the 10-yard line, and close to a first down. Looks to be a yard short is Theodore Bush. Chris Clock pursuing is able to make the stop, and now a decision for Tony Villegas. It's 4th down, and it appears about a yard to go for the first down.
Ken, just a quick drop right here and a throw out to Bush. 4.5 speed. He eludes a couple of tacklers here. Good move right there on the cornerback, and Maenza scoots up the field for nearly a first down before the tackle was made by Bush. All the wide receivers are dangerous with their hands on the ball. Costello and Hankton also deep threats.
The decision made. St. Aug will go for it. 4th down, a yard just inside the 10. And a fumble. Picked up by Wiltz. Down to the 25. Play looked like it was in trouble from the start. It appeared Rummel knew what was coming. They had the play diagnosed to the left side of the offensive formation. And White really unable to even execute a handoff. He was hit, fumbled, and Daron Wiltz recovers for Rummel, and the Raiders take over.
Well, then they were going to go to Arrington, and it was a good play call. But, Kenny, they were really shooting on the snap of the ball. The Rummel Raider defense steps up a notch. Good defensive play, first big defensive play of the game, and this could turn things around here early in the game, but boy, big stop.
Looked like Nick Loyacano had the hit. 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Burks gets a block, has room. Michael Burks into the secondary, gets another block. Out of bounds at the St. Augustine 40-yard line. Great blocking at the point of attack by the Raiders. Edgar Algeray, the sophomore weak side linebacker, finally makes the stop, but a big play for the Raiders, and how this one is turned around quickly. A gain of 34 yards for Michael Burks.
Yeah, but Kenny, you have to compliment Dave Myers downfield, the wide receiver. He occupied the DB, kept him busy, and allowed Burks to get into the secondary for that good run. So all the blocking up front, but David Myers, good blocking downfield.
Well, the really good blocks initially by the left tackle, Brandon Graziano, and the tight end, Joey Markey, on that side, who's lined up on the right side now. It is a strong right formation. Trip receivers to that side of the field. Burks the lone setback. Michael gets the football, and he's ripped, and he's hit by a big-time defensive lineman, Willie Gray, 6'2", 255, a senior, a returning starter, a captain, a top college prospect. You don't run it, Willie Gray, very successfully.
And, Kenny, the thing is that St. Aug moves him around so much, defensive tackle, nose tackle, or defensive end, but he comes shooting out of the gap, 4.8 speed, 6'2", 255, some big colleges. Looking at him, we'll talk about it.
Loss of 3, 2nd and 13, Raiders at the Purple Knight 43. Again, Rummel with a one setback look. Parquet is the wingman, right? They'll give it to Burks on the stretch play, running room. Great blocking downfield inside the 30, but a flag is down. For Celestine on the stop, but hold everything.
That flag is spot.
Spot foul here, likely marked off from the point of the flag.
Holding on red, 2nd down.
That's Rummel's favorite play out of that I formation when they run I, or the one-back set, Renee, is the stretch play where they get zone blocking and stretch the defense and let Michael Burks cut off of the blocks. We have a timeout on the field taken by St. Augustine. It comes with 8:11 to play first quarter, so we'll take the timeout as well with our score. Rummel nothing and St. Augustine nothing. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. There, St. Augustine 46, where it is 2nd down, 15 yards to go for the Raiders. This time they'll line up in the I formation. Parquet the up back, Burks the deep back. Wide side left. Sealing wants to throw. Into traffic and chipped and incomplete. 2 receivers in the area. David Myers got his hands on it. Not sure if that was intended for Myers or Poche, to be honest with you, but both were in the vicinity and attracted defensive attention. It's 3rd down and 15. The Raiders not a particularly good passing team, Renee.
Not especially. They throw about 5 times per game, and this looked like he threw into a committee meeting, Kenny. There was a bunch of guys down there, and about 2 or 3 St. Aug players, and of course Poche and Myers down there. No one came down with it. Unfortunately for the Raiders, that the Purple Knights did come down with an interception.
Celestine got his hand on it after the fact. 3rd down and 15. 3 wide receivers to the right side, 2 slot men. The give to Burks. Trying to cut outside, in trouble, evades 1 tackler, but he's got a lot more traffic, and he'll go down for no gain. Great job defensively for St. Augustine as they have stopped Rummel, pursuing and making the play for the Purple Knights. 22, Albert Nichols. 19, Michael Audrick. Audrick, the returning starter, had an interception and a win over Holy Cross.
And Davis comes bouncing in as soon as the ball is snapped. He made Burks look. Number 55 is going to make Burks go a little bit wider. Right here, he's going to make him go wider, which is going to kind of stretch that play out a little bit. Davis, a good defensive play. Didn't make the tackle, Kim, but helped his mates.
Murphy to punt it away. End over end, high from the 6-yard line. They call that a legal block, and now another flag does come down. Initially, sure looked like a block in the back, and surely enough, a flag came down a little bit late, and this will pin the Purple Knights back deep in their own territory as a result.
And the flag may have come out of the pocket of Elmo Adolph, who probably is one of the best boxing officials in this area. He does a great job on the gridiron as well.
On the return team, 1st down.
Interesting that the flag came from downfield because the initial man on the spot didn't see it that way. That's the benefit of having several out there, though. From the 5-yard line, the Purple Knights have it. 2nd possession of the ball game, 5:08 to play here in the 1st quarter with no score. Bush comes wide to the right. Wide left goes Hankton. High formation, the talented backs, Arrington and Taylor behind White. Long count by White. This is Taylor. Taylor breaks the line of scrimmage and has about 9. Jeff Lambert makes the stop for Rummel. Lambert, a returning starter, had an interception against Holy Cross. Also returned to fumble 40 yards for a touchdown in the win over Carver. Watch Lambert in your picture, Renee.
Albert Taylor with 4.5 speed, playing on a tender ankle, Kenny, trying to get outside. Maybe not the 4.5 he is today. A little bit like a Jamaican D'Artes. A lot of similar abilities of the Tulane star.
Well, that turf they play on at Gormley taking their toll on St. Aug. They have some players banged up. Taylor has mentioned a twisted ankle, but playing very well. 2nd and 1, 14-yard line. Taylor again. Good blocks up front. 1st down, St. Augustine. Lambert on the stop. Running behind, the blocking of Charles Dean, the outstanding left guard, a senior, a returning starter. Started at center last year, and he's made the transition very smoothly. Some of the fans watching here on what is an inclement, warm afternoon. As mentioned, we have a cool front coming through, but it sure hasn't arrived in Metairie yet.
Not at all. Not to look at the attire those fans are dressed in.
Honore is wide right, another receiver to the left. That is Hankton. Another long count here. Taylor right. Good force by Wiltz, and the play is made by Clark. Clark makes the tackle, but you've got to give the credit there to Daron Wiltz, who came up, Renee, and forced the play and just leveled the blocker on the play and cleared the way for Clark to make the play. Watch number 5.
Wiltz cut off the outside lane, did not allow him to get outside. Made him go, look, made him cut inside right here and allowed Clark to make the tackle inside. So credit Wiltz with at least an assist, but he's done a great job from his safety position at junior. He's got a good future here with the Rummel Raiders.
Surely does. It is now 2nd down and 10, no gain on the play. A long 10 from the 16-yard line. Owens, the tight end, tucked in on the right. Play faking is White. Has time. He's going deep. Incomplete. Off of the outstretched hands of Theodore Bush, who showed some speed there down the sideline. Coverage by Maenza, and Welts, of course, coming over to help. It's third down and a long 10.
It shows what kind of arm strength Michael White has. He makes the big plays, and he's throwing to a guy who makes big plays, Theodore Bush, 4.5 speed. He got behind the coverage here, Kenny, and would have been a tough catch, over-the-shoulder catch, but just couldn't pull it in. But Michael White, he threw for over 200 yards against Brother Martin. He can air it out.
Completed 48% of his passes a year ago. He's at 52% this year. It is third down, a long 10. 2:57 to play in the first quarter with no score. White to throw off the fake and too tall. Really spilled on the play was Hankton. He took a hit from Pat Lamy, and St. Augustine will have to punt the football. So the Raiders hold, and they'll get the football back. Ronald Burns is the punter for the Purple Knights. Lamy will drop deep to receive, along with Jeremy Roussel for Rummel. Lamy has set up a pair of touchdowns with excellent punt returns this season. Burns hits this one end over end. Coming up on the run, Roussel fumbles the ball. Lamy falls on it, however, at the 45. So that is a 29-yard effort, and Rummel gets great field position at the Purple Knight 45 with 2:40 to play in the first quarter and no score. Well, the Rummel Raiders under Jay Roth, who's in his third year, a record of 20 and 11 overall, have been to the playoffs in both of Coach Roth's previous seasons. Burks the lone setback here. Wideouts to either side. Parquet in the slot in motion now, and movement up front by Rummel. That will cost the Raiders 5 yards, as Brandon Graziano, who's been playing extremely well, was a little bit over-anxious. Penalties have been a problem for Rummel throughout the course of this season. They have been out-penalized by almost 200 yards as compared to their opponents. And they've had several games in which penalties have been a huge factor this season. Against Thibodeau, 11 penalties, 90 yards. Against South Lafourche, 8 penalties, 79 yards. 14 penalties, 130 yards against Carver. 9 penalties, 67 yards against Holy Cross, to give you an illustration. From midfield, Parquet, the motion man. Burks gets the football. Gets a block, fights forward for about 4, perhaps 5, running behind the block of Michael Hollinger, a very sturdy 283-pound junior. Back near the original line of scrimmage, where it will be 2nd and 10.
And Ken, the thing is that it's a challenge to the Raiders up front that no one has really run against St. Augustine. The defense, they shut everybody down, but Burks gets 5 yards on that, and he's going to be the bell cow here, and he'll get the ball most of the time. He'll get it to Parquet as well.
2nd down, 10 yards to go now. Sealing under center for Rummel. And he'll give it to Burks left. Good hole here and across the 40 near the 39. Gain of about 6 for Michael Burks before he's brought down on the play by Willie Gray for the Purple Knights. Gray was there with help from Caven Davis, their best linebacker, who calls their defensive signals, and their leading tackler. He's 5'10", 225, and a junior. It is 3rd down and about 4 yards to go for the Raiders. First quarter ticking down, 1:35 and counting. It's a crosswind here this afternoon, and it's about 15 miles per hour blowing across from the home side of the field to the Purple Knight side of the field here at Joe Yenny Stadium. On 3rd and 4. Burks gets it again on the stretch play, and he has the corner. First down, Rummel inside the 35 and near the 33-yard line before Chris Oates is able to bring him down. Running behind the block of Big Keith Chatelain, 6'4", 301, and only a junior.
Kenny, he's getting outside, which is good blocking on the perimeter. Michael Burks with good speed, taking the handoff from Sealing, and Burks shows why the people like Texas A&M, SMU, Miami, LSU, good block right there. That was Chatelain allowing him to get outside, but Louisville, Tulane, Colorado, and Tennessee hot on the trail of Michael Burks.
From the 33-yard line, Parquet this time trying to bounce it outside and going down maybe a yard, and that's all. He was running laterally, trying to find a seam most of the way. He's a different type of runner than Burks. Albert Poirier makes the stop. Parquet is more of a speed guy. He's a legitimate 4'5" speedster who's really suited to playing tailback. playing fullback this year because Jeff Winchester elected not to play and concentrate on baseball.
Only a sophomore, squats 450 pounds, and Kenny, he is going to be the real deal before he leaves here. He had 260 yards against De La Salle, 130 against Holy Cross. A north-south runner, usually that time he just couldn't turn the corner.
2nd and 9 from the 32-yard line. Burks the single. He's bought a lot of time. He can run or throw. Hesitates now, though, and he can't find anyone, and he goes down. Oh, a little bit tardy in making a decision there, and it cost him a sack. Didn't look like anyone was open on the play, but he could have run initially for significant yardage.
Well, he was looking downfield and trying to make the right decision. Didn't have much time back there, and finally had to do something with it. Was sacked by Algier, a linebacker who plays a lot like Wayne Cordova. Used to play with the St. Aug Purple Knights, now at Magnice. But Sealing just trying to do something with it. Couldn't find a receiver. Finally had a run with it.
And that ends the first quarter of play, and a pretty well-played quarter and an even quarter. We expected a good game. We've got one. It's St. Augustine nothing, Rummel nothing. Back with our second quarter in a moment. You are watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Second quarter begins. Sealing looking deep for Poche toward the end zone. Jump ball incomplete. Into double coverage and knocked away. An outstanding play defensively. The coverage by Albert Nichols and Oliver Celestine for the Purple Knights. And St. Augustine is held despite having to defend a short field.
And Poche trying to catch his 4th touchdown pass of the season. He's got 9 grabs already. 2-year starter, and just got a little deep, and as you said, Kenny, into double coverage, and just couldn't beat the double coverage.
Pat Murphy standing at about midfield to punt it away for the Raiders. Twin receivers near the 10-yard line. High snap. Murphy gets it off and hits it hard, and this will go into the end zone for a touchback. And St. Augustine will get the football at its own 20-yard line with 11:43 to play in the first half and no score. Ken Trahan along with Renee Nato from Joe Yenny Stadium. Glad you could join us this afternoon. Excellent play here, Renee.
Ball coming down. Celestine along with Nichols broke it up. A pass intended for Poche, which again he had temporarily had beaten the coverage, but they caught up with that speed. Of course, Nichols 4 interceptions on the season thus far, so you don't beat him deep too often, Kenny.
Receivers to either side for the Purple Knights. Tight end tucked in on the right side. That is Owens on first down from the 20-yard line. Arrington and Taylor, the running backs. And again, White takes a lot of time. I think this is by design to slow the blitz. Here's the pass. Tipped and incomplete. Off of the hands of the intended receiver, Theodore Bush. They've been running a lot of quick hitches, Renee, and a lot of quick posts, if you will.
That was a quick cross there, Ken. Had he caught that pass, he may have been gone because he had beaten the coverage. He was inside the defensive back, and I don't think anybody would have caught him with that 4.5 speed. And again, you hear Bush's name quite often this evening. They throw 53%, and White is not afraid to air it out. He's got a good arm, 6'2", 192. He can throw it anywhere on the field.
2nd and 10 now from the 20-yard line. Taylor trying to make a move and does to the outside. That's an excellent run by Taylor, and he's got a first down. Making people miss out to the 32. Wiltz finally makes the tackle, but he basically didn't have anything there where the play was drawn up, and he managed to avoid a tackler, bounce it outside, and make a significant gain of 12.
And he's only 179, Kenny, not real big, but good leg drive. He's going full speed on a second step, and shows why a lot of the SWAC schools are looking at him, and Nichols State, Alabama State, Grambling, Southern, Tennessee State. A lot of schools are looking at him, and he will be a good running back. He's been playing since his sophomore year, so he's got a lot of experience.
Has 416 yards rushing on the season entering play today. He dots the I right behind Big Arrington, and a quick drop and the deep route, and it's incomplete. Led his intended receiver too much against the zone coverage, trying to get it to Cortez Hankton. It will be 2nd and 10. Well, the Purple Knights obviously like their matchups outside in this game as they continue to try to go against man coverage to their wideouts.
They're going to test you a little bit, and Lamy with good protection, a good coverage just now on Hankton. And Hankton is a big, tall receiver, nearly 6'2", Kenny, and it's somewhat of a mismatch. Lamy only 5'9", but I'm sure you see that Purple Knights go back to that once again.
Rummel blitzing on 2nd and 10. The give to Taylor, evades one tackle, and not the second. He's down in the arms of Cliff Gurley, the senior defensive end who had a couple of sacks against Jesuit and on the play. If anything, a loss of a yard. To the 31, it's 3rd down and 11.
The thing is about Rummel, they don't blitz a whole lot. And you know that St. Aug's going to throw the ball, but they don't blitz a whole lot. They play very solid defense, play a little zone. They like to run upfield. Those linebackers, Kirkley, Clark, and Lambert, are so active, it's tough to get outside on them, Kenny.
3rd and 11 from the 31. Hankton wide left, Bush to the right. White rolling with time, delivering deep toward the sideline. Jump ball, tipped and incomplete. Into double coverage to Cortez Hankton. Good job defensively by Rummel. Pat Lamy was there. Jeremy Roussel was there, the strong safety. He breaks it up, and the Purple Knights have to punt the football.
But you know, the Purple Knights like that match, even though it's double coverage, Ken. Hankton with the size advantage, they like that match. And once again, White is most dangerous as he gets out of the pocket. Throws just a little bit off target, but a nice break up there. And I'll tell you what, Lamy was the one that broke it up.
Burns to punt it away, standing at his 17. Low snap, has it though with plenty of time. Gets off a line drive and a very good kick. He overkicks both receivers, and this ball's rolling inside the 5 and into the end zone. Almost died. The punt goes 69 yards, and boy, I'll tell you, I think the Rummel punt team greatly underestimated the punting ability of Ronald Burns there. That ball sailed a good 8 to 10 yards over the receiver's head. So a 69-yard punt turns the field position around, and Rummel has to start at its own 20.
Ronald Burns did anticipate the ball going that far, Kenny. I don't think he kicked with the wind. The wind is going across the field here, so he did it with his leg, but it was a low kick, but a great roll, and now Rummel starts deep in their own territory.
With 9:58 to play in the first half and still no score, Tony Villegas, the head coach of the Purple Knights, there he is with his cap on backwards, a wonderful man. He's done a great job at St. August, 13th year, marvelous record, 99-33, 2 state semifinal appearances for the Purple Knights. Parquet in motion. Burks with the football. Burks for about 3. Wrapped up by Jonathan St. Cyr, the 6'2", 245-pound junior defensive tackle for St. Augustine. Purple Knights have beaten McDonough 35, John Eric, Kennedy, Holy Cross, and Brother Martin. They've lost to De La Salle and Jesuit.
And Burks, this guy is strong. Kenny, you're not going to bring him down with an arm tackle. The kid bench presses 350. He's going to make someone an excellent tailback. He had 200 yards against De La Salle and Holy Cross, 100 yards against Shaw and Jesuit each. So he is consistent week in and week out, running inside or outside.
From the 23-yard line on 2nd and 7, here's Burks running right, waits for a block, gets one down at the 25, and there he is again. Jonathan St. Cyr to make the stop. Purple Knights give yardage grudgingly against the run. They do an excellent job in that regard. Official timeout. We have a Raider limping around a little bit. Doesn't look like it's anything serious, but he's going to have to come out of the game.
They're so difficult to run against, Ken. They do so many things. They move Willie Gray around. They do some loops and some stunts. They run 8-man fronts. They take some chances with their secondary, so they're a very tough defense to get a read on and run against.
Well, it's the center for Rummel, Chris Rodriguez, the senior, who's limping toward the sideline. Team Dr. Courtney Russo working on him. It does not look serious, but Rummel has to bring in Bruce Hurley, a junior, 5'11", 220 to snap the football. So watch the snap here on 3rd down and 4. 3 wide receivers right. H.J. Adams on the outside, very talented. Ceiling's going to roll that way. It's a flood pattern. With time, he's delivering deep up the sideline, and the pass is incomplete. Poche got there at the same time as Albert Poirier. Poche got his hands on it, but right as he was being hit, really no chance to hold that ball, and the Raiders have to punt the football.
And Poirier, learning to play cornerback. He was a strong safety in 1996. Does have 1 interception to his credit in 1997, but Kenny, with that 10-9 speed in the 100 meters, he really closed on the ball quickly.
Punt formation is Pat Lamy for the Raiders, or rather Pat Murphy, pardon me. Murphy gets a good snap, and it's a nice spiral. The enemy sees it go out of bounds near the 32-yard line. So that's a good punt. 42 yards and no return. Nice net. And with 8:36 to play in the first half, we've got a bit of a defensive struggle with no score, and St. Augustine has it back on offense. Well, last year, Rummel handled St. Augustine in uncustomary fashion, 26-0. In a game played in the Superdome. In fact, Rummel's won the last 2 meetings, but St. Augustine has controlled the series over the years. 17, 12, and 1. They won 17, lost 12, tied 1. most of the games have been very, very close, and that's what we expect here this afternoon, and we're getting thus far. High formation behind White. They run right. Taylor is hit by Wiltz. Jerome Wiltz is playing outstanding football defensively for Rummel. Dropped for about a yard loss. Clock helped out, but Wiltz makes the play. Wiltz had an interception against Holy Cross. He also had a big interception against Jesuit. Leads this team with a pair of picks on the year.
And he came up second time. Well, he's done it more than twice, but another good play by Wiltz. Comes up from a strong safety position and does a good job, good tackle here. And Taylor's not going anywhere. And this defense, this has been a struggle between two excellent defenses thus far, Ken.
And a good job by Lambert of stringing that play out as we look at Jerome Wiltz. Second down and 12 yards to go. It's a loss of 2 to the 30-yard line. Single setback is Dennis Hebert now. Off the fake, White rolling. White might run, and he will. White is out across the 35 and out near the 39. Has about 9 yards on the play. It will be 3rd down and 3 from that point. Michael White will run if you give him the opportunity to do so. He's run for a couple of touchdowns this year, and he made a good, quick decision right here.
And he shows you why he can beat you with his arm or his feet. He's dangerous coming out of the pocket, Kenny. He's really made some dramatic improvements from 96 to 97. Reminds you a little bit of Kareem Evans, who was a 3-year starter here with the St. Aug Purple Knights. A little bigger version, but quite a quarterback and quite a leader for the Knights.
Lambert on the stop. 3rd down and 3 from the 39. Taylor in motion. Arrington the lone setback. White with a quick one again. He's got his man. 1st down across midfield to Cortez Hankton on the quick slant. Brought down by Pat Lamey, and a perfectly delivered football from White.
Getting that hard slant is going to be tough to beat. Lamey, he's playing inside of Lamey and Hankton with the height advantage, but he throws it low. You're not going to stop that. A great completion, good pass, and White with a quick drop is tough to get a handle on, so you're not going to sack him because he's got that quick 2-step drop.
A gain of 15 yards, and the Purple Knights are in Rummel territory at the 46. Burns in motion. Arrington with the football. Arrington going nowhere, largely due to the efforts of 45 Lewis Irwin. 6'2", 260-pound senior defensive tackle spoiled the play. Sangerson mopped up.
Kenny, I'm surprised we haven't heard Arrington's name more. He had 216 yards against Brother Martin, averaging 12.6 yards per tote. We call him the baby bus. He's a younger version of Jerome Bennett.
Well, the problem with Arrington is he suffered a turf toe and a twisted knee last week, so he is far from 100% and thus not the focus today of their offense. 2nd and 10 from the 46. High formation behind White. Dotting the I is Damon Burns. Hebert the up back. Burns gets the football, bounces it outside, shakes one tackle, goes down at about the 42. An ankle tackle by David Kirkley saved perhaps a big run.
You know, he's the son of Burton Burns, former St. Aug assistant now with the Tulane Green Wave, and I guess we'll take the opportunity to say he's probably a little faster than Dad.
Yeah, Burton did his work up front and did it awfully well, and he's doing a great job of coaching at Tulane. He's a dear friend, a wonderful man. Timeout call by the Purple Knights. It comes with 5:30 to play here in the first half. We have a scoreless ball game. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Complete to Taylor. Has third down and 5 from the 42-yard line. White wants to throw. He's in trouble. Gets away. Complete to Taylor. Has room. Taylor 1st down and more. Taylor down the sideline. Still on his feet. Taylor's going the distance for St. Augustine. And the Purple Knights are on the board. 42 yards from White to Albert Taylor, and St. Augustine takes the lead.
And that was an excellent executed screen pass from White to Taylor, and Taylor just exhibits that explosion down the sidelines, and all you see is the backside of Albert Taylor. And Kenny, you're not going to catch him. 4-5 in the 40, and the senior puts the St. Aug Purple Knights up ahead. White with his 15th touchdown pass of the campaign.
Extra point attempt coming up from Rudy Corso. Out of the hold of Ronald Burns. Good snap, ball down, and there's your kick, and it sails left. He missed it. So the extra point fails. But with 5:18 to play in the first half, St. Augustine has grabbed the lead. It's the Purple Knights 6 and the Raiders nothing. So an outstanding pass from White to Taylor. And we're back in just a moment. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Last year they did not score a point against Rummel. Here they are on the board in the second quarter with the lead. 6 plays, 68 yards, 2:42 off the clock, and a 42-yard pass from White to Taylor puts St. Aug on the board. Corso to kick it off for the Purple Knights. Poche in the deep spot for Rummel. Nice kick by Corso, drives Lamy back to his 6. And nowhere to go. Excellent coverage on the play. Down at the 20 is Lamy. And the Purple Knights have the lead. Rummel has the ball. 5:09 to play, first half at their own 20.
And yards have come at a premium against this St. Aug defense all season long. It'll be interesting to see if Burks and Parquet can get outside. But you may have to see the Rummel offense open up just a little bit and do a little spread offense, see what works for them. Because just with 5:09 left here in the first half, the Raiders would like to get on the scoreboard.
Sealing remains the quarterback. Burks the setback behind him. Burks gets the ball, gets one block, and has some yardage out across the 25 to the 26. Once again, a good play by Jonathan St. Cyr, who's been extremely impressive in this game. Not only good size, but he runs well. For a man of his size, 6'2", 245, he pursued. Watch him pursue here and make this play.
He skates along, Kenny, and makes the stop. Of course, he's backed up there. They have 8 men in the box, 4 guys right behind the line. But Sincere, yes, he skates along, makes the tackle, and the junior has done an outstanding job from his defensive tackle position.
Great block by Markey on the play. Second down and 3. And the give to Burks running left. Nothing here. He's just kind of tiptoeing around and going down at the 25. Well, he was waiting for the play to develop, but there was nothing there, and it's a loss of 2.
And the linebackers kind of shut the door, did not allow him to get outside, led by Edgar Algier. And they say this kid, a sophomore, we mentioned before, is a lot like Wayne Cordova. They feel like in 1999, he will be one of the best linebackers in the city. Comes from a long line of excellent linebackers with the St. Aug Purple Knights.
Third down and 5 now from the 26-yard line. Adams splits wide left, Poche to the right. Straight eye behind Sealing. Flag down. Sealing will run this time. He makes a good decision, has lots of yardage. He's all the way out near midfield, but there is a flag down, and it comes near the line of scrimmage, and it's likely on Rummel. Good decision by Sealing, who makes a good run, but again, the flag. We mentioned penalties have plagued Rummel all season long, and here it is again. Motion against the Raiders.
And yes, it's a shame it's all coming back. Coach Roth has said that
you can see it right there, Renee. Looked like Poche started toward the line of scrimmage a little bit early.
Yeah, this has been the most penalized team.
Repeat the down.
In the last 2 years. It's because of the aggressiveness, but that sometimes it's backfired. But you know, they've really been penalized an awful lot, and that's a big play by Sealing. That all comes back for naught.
And it's 3rd and 10 now. Rummel from their own 21 with 3:37 and counting in the first half. Rodriguez, by the way, back in the game at center for Rummel, so he's okay. A good look at him as they break the huddle. Purple Knight staff yelling instructions. Near eye formation this time for Rummel. Lots of time for Sealing, waiting to go deep middle and incomplete. Nice job defensively. Pass was intended for 81 David Myers and knocked away on an outstanding play by Oates.
Chris Oates does a great job. You know, Chris, he went to Jesuit, transferred over to St. Aug. He's a junior now. He started the last 3 games, really physical. Did an outstanding job on a post route by Poche, and should have been completed. Good throw by Sealing, and Oates just happened to make a good play there. Got to make those catches, but a good defensive play.
Let's give credit to Audrick, who was there to get a hand on it for St. Aug. Murphy punts it away, end over end toward the sideline. Good kick, wise kick, and again it will go out of bounds without a return. That's an Very intelligent punt and a good one by Murphy. But the Purple Knights will get it back with the lead and 3:03 to play in the first half.
Can I ever tell you something, what kind of talent we have in New Orleans? We've talked about this. You know, there are 20 Metro New Orleans kids who are now playing in the NFL. And if you look at some of the kids that are graduating from college this year, you could have as many as 7 more moving up to the NFL. But you look at the St. Aug program, 4 players who played at St. Aug are now in the NFL, Tyrone Hughes and company. So this metro area, a lot of high school talent moves on to the NFL.
43 yards, no return on that punt by Murphy. A 4 wide receiver set for St. Augustine. White barking signals. Hamilton over the football. Wide open Taylor. First down, Purple Knights across midfield to the Rummel 46. Roussel, the strong safety, hits him hard, but Taylor holds on, and Albert Taylor has been the man.
One step drop by White, and he kind of snuck back there, perhaps a blown coverage. But Taylor was all alone in the moonlight, and had Roussel not made the tackle here, he was gone for his second touchdown, big first down inside of Raider territory.
Passing game really starting to pay dividends for St. Augustine. Michael White pulling the trigger successfully again. Again, the 4 wideout set from the Rummel 46. White gets away. He'll run. He has good yardage, and he's all the way down near a first down at the Rummel 35. And Michael White has been very impressive, and now a flag down, and that's likely 15 more. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Penalties have been a huge problem for Rummel all season long.
And he just got away from Cliff Gurley, who came from his left defensive end position and nearly sacked White, but very elusive, broke away and picked up a nice gain and maybe tacked on some more yards with a penalty, Ken.
Michael White, very impressive. This is 15 more against Rummel.
On red, out of bounds.
Personal foul on the hit out of bounds. White evades a sack here and makes a big play.
And Gurley, you see, he got a handful of jersey, just couldn't bring him down. White is just too strong. Shows what he can do out of the pocket. Good block right there by Costello. Another block down the field by Taylor, and allows White to pick up a first down and have some extra yards tacked on.
From the 21-yard line, White again evades trouble, and he'll run again for yardage. 15, gets a block, first down inside the 10. He's near the 5, what an effort. He's all the way down to the 3-yard line. That's a gain of 18 for Michael White, and first and goal, St. Augustine.
And Clock came from his linebacker, middle linebacker position, and just couldn't get a hold of White, but once again, dangerous with his feet. He's been doing it with his arm, now he's doing it with his feet here in the second quarter, and found a gap. Good fake to Arrington, and White rolls out, tucks it away, so he's going to run. There's no pass here. Knocked out of bounds, but shows some great balance along the right there as he tiptoes for about another 5 other yards before they finally bring him to the turf.
With 2:14 to play in the half, first and goal for the Purple Knights. Line of scrimmage is the 3. Power I formation. Taylor shaking a tackle. He's in. Touchdown, Taylor. And the Purple Knights are up by 2 scores. Albert Taylor making people miss all day, and Michael White delivering the football and running the football, and the Purple Knights are in control.
Just a cave-in block on the right side. Dennis Herbert along with Horace Williams, Albert Jones on the right side, and the tight end Claude Owens open a gaping hole, allow Taylor to get outside for his second score. And 2:09 to go, Kenny, and the St. Aug Purple Knights with a commanding lead.
And they'll go for 2 here after the missed extra point on the initial score. Again, the power I formation. Taylor dots the I, 2 tight ends. White is going to be hit and dropped in the backfield by Lambert, so the 2-point conversion fails. Time out on the field, 2:09 to play first half. St. Augustine 12, Rummel nothing. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. .54 seconds off the clock. A 3-yard touchdown run by Albert Taylor gives St. Aug a 12-0 lead with 2:09 to play in the first half. Corso will boot it away. Lamy again, almost like last time from the 9. And good coverage again, this time out to about the 24. The Purple Knights are playing solid football all around, offensively, defensively, and on special teams. Rummel, with the exception of one long run by Michael Burks, has been unable to get anything going offensively.
With penalties have really taken Rummel out of the game. Ken, a couple of nice plays and that run by Sealing just moments ago before the touchdown really would have changed the complexion of this game, but credit the defense of St. Aug. They're really, really playing outstanding.
Sealing wants to throw. He's in trouble. He's going to be sacked. Boy, Rummel doesn't throw the ball well at all, and they're sure trying to throw it a lot early in this game.
Well, you're trying to catch up now, and with a little over a minute and a half before the halftime break, they know they're going to throw the ball, and they're coming with their ears pinned back, and Luke and company really caved in on Sealing.
Alred Luke on the sack, the outside linebacker. There he is, 5'11", 211, a senior. St. Augustine is really controlling play now with 1:30 to play in the half. They're hoping to get the football back once more. St. Aug has one timeout remaining to stop the clock should they wish to do so. They go back to the run with Burks trying to pick his way forward, shakes a tackle, finds some running room. That's what they do best, and Burks goes out of bounds with a first down near the 35, a gain of about 19 before Chris Oates makes the tackle.
Kenny, he looks like he's cruising, but he's moving at a pretty good pace. You don't gain the yardage he has without moving. You're really putting out the effort. 1,245 yards on the season, 6.8 yards per tote, and we mentioned 14 touchdowns. And a lot of schools would like to get his services next year, and he's a young guy. He's, I think he's like 17 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Rummel first down, their own 35, a minute 14 to play on the half. Burks the lone setback. Sealing, rolling, wants to throw. He delivers way high, way over the head of Poche and out of bounds. It does stop the clock with 1:07 to play, and Rummel has yet to complete a pass. It will be 2nd and 10 with a minute 7 to play. Trying to get it to Poche there, who was open on the play.
You know, Sealing had a good game against South Lafourche, 40 yards rushing. But, you know, he's a quarterback with that fullback, a linebacker mentality. Pretty tough kid.
Timeout on the field, I believe, taken by St. Aug with 1:07 to play in the half. Purple Knights 12, the Raiders nothing, and we're back in a moment. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. It throws for Parquet in the flat. Gets one block, has room. 40, 45, gets another block outside. 45, 40. He's down to the St. Aug 38, but a late flag on the play. Probably on Rummel again, but the Raiders will have a first down. Celestine makes the tackle. Boy, the flags are everywhere here this afternoon against Rummel. And again, Renee, we've talked about it throughout the broadcast. It's a clip against Rummel, and that's going to cost them 15 more. They have been plagued by penalties all season long.
And a good block by Chatelain. Watch, he slips out here and buries a potential defensive player. Bang, right there. Really clears a path.
First down.
See if we can pick up the clip here. Another good block downfield right there.
Perhaps
I'm
from the
guessing
backside.
they're calling that right there.
Yeah, Mirabel may have hit him from the backside. Just a hustle block and may have hit him on the backside. So it's coming back a little bit.
54 seconds to play on the half. It is a first down after the 15-yard mark off to the Rummel 45, but that one cost Rummel significant field position, like about 17 yards. And Jay Roth is having a discussion with his crew. You know, Jay can't be happy about the way this one is going in terms of the score or in terms of the calls to this point.
And, you know, St. Aug has really taken advantage of the opportunities and made the most of it. Played pretty sound on offense and defense, so credit the game plan for the Purple Knights.
Rummel has beaten Thibodeau, South Lafourche, Carver, De La Salle, and Holy Cross. They've lost to Shaw and Jesuit. The combined record of their two opponents, which they've lost to, is 19-1. So they've lost to good teams. Last year, Rummel was 8-3, 4-2, and third in District 10 5A at the time. Lost to a good West Jefferson team, 14-7 in state playoff action. St. Augustine had a very unusual season last year. Just 3-6, 1-5 in the league. But that was the exception. That does not happen on Truro Avenue. This is an outstanding football program. 1st and 10, Rummel. Their own 45, 54 seconds left in the half, and Sealing wants to throw. Steps up. He'll run the ball. Good decision. 1st down and more. Sealing still on his feet. Breaks a tackle and stumbles inside the 20 and down near the 18. Big run by Sealing. 1st down, Rummel. No flags here. 37 yards on the play.
Good decision there. Made a big play, Ken, and it kind of offsets that play that came back, and now the Raiders may have an opportunity. Sealing finds a big gap. The C opens up a little bit. You see some offensive linemen shuttling with a good block down there. Sealing tucks it away. We mentioned he's got that fullback mentality. He's not afraid to tuck it and go. Great run, great pickup, and 42 ticks to go, and the Raiders have an opportunity.
And Rummel takes a timeout. They still have one remaining, I do believe, with 42 seconds to play in the half. There's our score, 12-0 St. Augustine. So let us take the break as well. You are watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Side trying to get to the corner, shakes one tackle but goes down near the 14 and stays in bounds, and the clock will run. Now a timeout taken by Rummel stops it. Well, that's the danger of running the ball, but you got to go to your man in that situation. Trying to bounce it outside. He almost got to the boundary, but not quite. Picks up about 4 on the play, and will be 2nd and 6 with 35 seconds left to play in the first half.
And I think that right play was called, but the St. Aug Purple Knight defensive coaches knew that, and they shot their players to the sidelines, anticipating Burks trying to get wide.
So the Raiders to the sideline, conferring with their coaching staff. St. Augustine coming into this game and really done the job offensively. They were averaging 27.3 points per game, but allowing 21 per game. So their offense has really been the strength of their football team. Rummel, conversely, has averaged 28.2 per game, allowing 19.2 per game. So some similar numbers where the two teams were concerned, just as their records were similar coming in, as Tony Villegas looks on a warm afternoon in Metairie. Teams huddled around their coaching staffs and now making their way back out onto the field. I mentioned the St. Augustine series lead, 17-12-1. 16 of the 30 games played between these two teams have been decided by 7 points or less, indicative of the competitive nature of these two schools, and we're pretty much expecting that kind of game here today. Rummel trying to get on the board, trailing 12-0 here. 35 seconds to play on the half, 2nd and 6 at the 13. Sealing wants to throw. Flares it for Burks, and that's way overthrown, and probably a good thing. Purple Knights were looking for that. 2 white shirts out there waiting for him, and it's 3rd down. Clock stopped with 30 seconds to play.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get in the end zone with that pass, and St. Aug was wise to the situation that the Raiders were in right now, and now it's a big 3rd down coming. St. Aug has really stepped up, Ken, and done an outstanding job, and boy, what tradition St. Aug has with the players they've produced that have gone on. And you look at some of the guys in college now, Nixon, Wiltz from Nebraska, Kenny Jackson, you know, just so many great defensive players in the NFL and college.
From the 13, 3rd and 6, Rummel now out of timeouts, and the option play. Sealing will pitch it to Burks, trying to get outside, and will. Burks to the end zone, touchdown. Boy, the play was well conceived, well blocked. Perfect call, and Rummel's on the board as Michael Burks scores from 13 yards out.
His 15th touchdown run of the season, and a good decision. Sealing kept the ball to the very last instant. You see good faking here. Runs along, scoots along the line of scrimmage, wasted the very last instant, and pitched it back. Burks had to reach a little bit. Good occupying block by Parquet. Kept the defensive backs busy, and Burks used that speed, and boy, he just pranced into the end zone for the score.
Well, a great job by Parquet. We talked about the fact that he's truly a tailback, but he sure looked like a fullback there with that block. That made the play go. Eddie Fuchs for the extra point attempt. Out of the hold of Darius Wilson, and he's got it. Right down the middle. 22 seconds to play first half. We've got a good one. It's St. Augustine 12, Rummel 7. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. of the year. He's some player. Christian Louvier to kick it off for Rummel. Louvier hits it toward the sideline, and this ball goes out of bounds. That's a penalty. With 22 seconds left to play in the first half, St. Aug will have good field position as a result of the kick out of bounds and no time off the clock.
You know, we talked about Burks with Texas A&M, SMU, Miami, LSU, Tulane, Louisville, Tennessee, and Colorado in the mix for his services. But Michael Burks was an outstanding basketball player until a couple of years ago. He traded in the hardwood for a pair of football cleats, and I think he's got a great future here.
Line of scrimmage will be the 35 following the kick out of bounds. Arrington, the lone setback, 4 wide out set. Purple Knights can score from anywhere on the field. And Michael White has been sharp. But they move up front. Looked like the left guard was a little bit premature for the Purple Knights.
First big penalty there, Ken, against the St. Aug Purple Knights. It played pretty solid thus far all evening.
Start. Offense.
Well, the Purple Knights had one game in which they had some significant penalties. That was a game in which they had 15 against McDonough 35 for 123 yards. Well, that's the first by our recollection here this afternoon. From the 30, first and 15. In the slot, caught. And a broken tackle. And there's Hankton down the sideline, out of bounds, near the 47. That's been the story all day. Short passes and then broken tackles resulting in bigger gains for the Purple Knights. It's a gain of 17.
Hankton, a big receiver. Theodore Bush sprung him loose a little bit with a good block outside. I don't know if you have a chance to see it right here, but Hankton catches the ball. Bush with the good block right there. Yeah, he kind of occupies. Good block. In fact, he took a couple of Raiders down.
Sure did.
Allowed him to get down the field.
Still 13 seconds left. Purple Knights at their own 47. Still an opportunity. Again, a 4 wide out set. Rummel in 3 deep coverage. And again, the quick slant wide open. Taylor cuts back. Taylor to the center of the field. He's down to the 30-yard line. And 5 seconds remaining, and the Purple Knights have a pop. Albert Taylor's had a huge first half. St. Aug out of timeouts. White will have to hurry up and spike the ball here to try to stop the clock in time. Takes the snap, flag down. Ball spiked, clock down to 3, but a flag down, and that came before the snap. So they might put 2 seconds back on the clock, and we'll get a penalty.
Snap infraction on White.
They snapped the ball before the ball was put into play, Renee. That's what happened, I believe.
Yes.
Cost them 5 yards, and if they're thinking field goal, that might change that thought process. As now would be a 52 yards in nature, and White has to hurry up here. The clock's going to start when they blow the whistle. 3 seconds left. Hurries up, gets him to the line of scrimmage. Bark signals. Clock starts. He's back to pass. He has time. He's going deep for the end zone, and what a catch! Oh, he had it for a moment and just couldn't quite hold on. What an effort. Bless his heart. What an effort by Cortez Hankton. Just failed to pull it in, and the half comes to a close. You talk about a great effort and coming close. Watch this effort by Hankton.
He went parallel with the ground, Kenny, and he stretched his 1.5 frame as far as it could possibly go. Hankton had it, just couldn't hold it, Ken.
Well, if he holds out when he hits the ground and it comes out, it's a catch, but you can see he lost it just before he got to the ground. What an effort. And a good half of football is over. St. Augustine leading Rummel by the score of 12-7. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Start the second half of play. Ken Trahan along with Renee Nadeau. Rudy Corso will kick off for St. Aug. Roussel, O'Shea, and Lamy deep for Rummel. Corso's been kicking everything toward the right sideline, and he has done so again. And again, it's Lamy from his 10. They've covered these kicks well all day, and look at this. They do it again. A 10-yard return, and that's all. The coverage has been great by St. Augustine. 15, Theodore Bush makes the stop. Rummel starts from its own 20-yard line. We'll check the Raider offense, which in the first half had its moments, put 7 points on the board right before the half. The Rummel offense is quarterbacked by Buster Sealing as he leads them onto the field. Tony Villegas looking on. The running backs are Burks and Parquet, O'Shea, and Myers the wideouts. We've seen Adams as well. Markey the tight end. Chatelain and Graziano the tackles. Hollinger and Mirambell the guards. Rodriguez is the center for Rummel. On first down from the 20-yard line. Burks, the slot man. Parquet gets the football. Cuts back, runs right into a tackler. Well, Albert Nichols makes the stop. Really didn't make the best of decisions there as he cut right into the flow. And they are different types of runners. Rene Burks is a get-it-upfield guy, and Parquet is more of a speed and picket type of guy. And that time he was unable to find running room. Looked like there was some room initially.
Yeah, you know, he is looking for a hole here. He had a hole right there. He tried to cut it back against the green, but the pursuit caught him, and St. Aug is expecting him to be that type of runner, and they're aware of it when he gets the ball.
A gain of only 1 yard. It's 2nd and 9 from the 21. Twin receivers left. And they run the reverse to Poche, looking for a block, can't get it. He's hit in the backfield, fights off that tackle, but goes down at the 19. And he loses yardage, and there is Jonathan St. Cyr to make the stop. He's played a great game for the Purple Knights. Looked like Luke was there to help spoil the play initially, and St. Aug was not fooled at all by that reverse.
And Luke gets so much attention, Kenny, because of Willie Gray's on the other side, and Luke, the outside linebacker on the left side, and they tried to run his way, and Sealing tried to block him, but he fought off the block and really was the reason that this play did not work.
3rd and 11 from the 19. Conversion down immediately for Rummel. Receivers to either side. And they give it to Burks off tackle, and that won't do it. Maybe a gain of 5, and well short, and a punting situation for Rummel. So the Purple Knights get Rummel off the field 3 and out, and they'll get the football back for their explosive offense. St. Cyr makes yet another stop, and the Knights pay full 11.
Well, they've got Willie Gray inside. Brian Holmes comes out of defensive end along with Lutz, and Cyr and Gray are down in the inside spots, and they've got a great combination there, defensive front for the Purple Knights.
Murphy to punt, twin receivers deep. St. Aug should get good field position out of this. Line drive kick, very returnable. Costello, lots of room. Look at the speed. Costello might go. Costello's going to go the distance, folks. Touchdown, St. Augustine. Eugene Costello, 55 yards and a touchdown on the punt return.
And Eugene Costello is quite a story, Kenny. 4.5 speed. You said he was a low kick. He took it in, hit it in stride, found the lane, raced along the right side, and boy, I tell you what, he just joined the team. He plays basketball. He joined the team after the De La Salle game, and he reminds you of a couple of players who played basketball and came off of football late. Chris Coward, who played for Florida State, and Matthew Glapion now for Tulane. So St. Aug has a history of those type of players.
Good snap, Corso, the kick right through there. He nails this one. Timeout on the field. St. Aug has exploded to start the third quarter. They lead Rummel 19-7. You are watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Corso to kick it off. And again, he kicks it toward Lamy. Fields it near the sideline. And again, the Purple Knights covered. It has been a terrific strategy, and it has worked to perfection all afternoon. The St. Augustine special teams have been dominant in this game, and the Purple Knights have a 19-7 lead.
Well, you know, Kenny, when they do that, they shorten the field. They cut off one side, and it's worked very, very well. And I tell you, you'd almost wonder, I guess, in retrospect, if you let the ball go out of bounds, if you'd be better off. But, of course, a ball that's returnable, you have to take it in and go.
Raiders back down by 2 scores. Burks, the lone setback. He had 104 yards in the first half. He was pretty much the Rummel offense. Sealing wants to throw. One receiver pattern. He's covered. Now the throw deep. Markey has it. Markey inbounds. Markey gonna go the distance, it appears. Joey Markey for 77 yards and a touchdown.
What a play, kid. I tell you what, this guy is a blocker, a guy who does everything he is asked of him, and what an effort by Joey Markey. I don't think he turns to 40 in 4.5, but he got there when he had to. And Kenny, a play that caught the Knights off guard, Sealing threw it just where it had to be, and what an exciting time for that young man.
You talk about a quick strike capability here in the third quarter. Each team doing it big time. 77 yards, Markey from Sealing. Eddie Fuchs to try the extra point out of the hold of Darius Wilson. Great shot for you. And the kick is through. 9:14 to play in the third quarter. St. Augustine 19, Rummel 14. You are watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Albert Taylor behind the wall, shakes one tackle and another, but clock has him, and he's down near the 30. So Albert Taylor, who's been outstanding for St. Aug, brings it back to the 30. Purple Knights have the football at that point, leading 19-14. Michael White leads his team back onto the field. White had a big first half. 7 of 13, 153 yards and a touchdown, and he had significant rushing yardage also in the first half. And Albert Taylor scored twice. Purple Knights to the line of scrimmage. They employ the 4 wideout set. Single setback is Arrington. Let's see what adjustments Rummel has made. Arrington wrapped up by Jeremy Pratt. And now the ball comes loose, but well after the whistle. Pratt, the returning starter, a senior at left tackle and a captain. Pratt was hurt much of the early season with a knee injury, came back a few weeks ago, and he's really bolstered this Rummel defensive front.
Yeah, he's the best defensive lineman, good technique, Kenny. Not a big guy, 5'11", 260, but really does a great job plugging in the middle up there. And, boy, he's facing some size up front with Horace Williams, 6'4", 288, and Terrell Simon, 6'4", 328.
A gain of 2, 2nd and 8 from the 32 for the Purple Knights. Again, the 4 wideout set. The running back is Hebert. White rolling away from pressure. Gets a block, goes down. White will lose a few. Slipped down, trying to cut upfield. Kirkley in pursuit. It is a loss of about 3, and it's 3rd and 11. The Raiders have been able to get pressure all day, but I think by my count only 1 sack. This is a sack, though, so it's their 2nd.
Especially Gurley, done an outstanding job. In fact, you get Sangerson right there chasing him down, even though he doesn't make the tackle. He's chasing him, and Kirkley comes up for the assist. 2nd down, 3rd down for the Knights.
3rd and 11. St. Aug, their own 29. Wide left is Hankton. Wide right is Bush. Straight eye. Taylor hit in the backfield. He's dropped. That's Lewis Irwin. And St. Aug will have to punt. Boy, things change very quickly in this game, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And the one thing that's happened since the first half, Ken, is the up-front men for the defensive line for the Raiders have really stepped up and kind of taken charge a little bit. The linebackers have been active, but you got Irwin, Gurley, Sangerson, and company have really stepped up along with Pratt.
Ronald Burns to punt it away. Rousseau and Lamy are deep for Rummel, standing near their 40. Remember, Burns kicked it over their heads earlier. Bad snap. Great job by Burns. He gets it off. Line drive and down with the football is Lamy at the 40-yard line, but he did a good job of fielding the ball and saving field position there. Rummel has good field position at their 40. 6:50 to play in the third. 19-14 St. Aug.
That was a dangerous catch, Ken, because it's kind of tough to catch it going down on your knees. Ball hits your knee or your hand, or don't get a hold of it. You're on your knees, and you really can't do very much. Good shot at the Rummel sideline.
Great
right
job
there
by Ronald Burns of fielding that one-hop snap cleanly. Parquet in motion. This is Burks bouncing it outside. He got a good block at the point of attack. He's close to a first down and has it. Across midfield down to the St. Aug 47. Michael Burks adds to his rushing total. He's had some monstrous games this season, having another big one.
Good block right there by the pulling guard Hollinger, and you see Poche trying to give him a block. But I tell you what, you get him on the perimeter with that speed and elusiveness, and he's strong for 208 pounds, Kenny. He's a tough person to bring to the ground.
Trip set, 3 wide receivers left here. Everybody else tight with Burks the lone setback from the 47-yard line. Burks behind the block of Markey, has running room and has another first down. Poche with a good block as well. Holmes on the tackle. And the tight end, Joey Markey, who we've talked about, is having quite a game. They have really switched people around at that position this year, but he gets another big kick-out block here.
Yeah, Kenny, that was a position by committee, but Markey stepped up and good block right there, allowing Burks to get inside of him. He kind of sealed him off, and Burks, with that good nose inside, cut it back inside, pick up a nice gain and a first down for the Raiders at the 35 of St. Aug.
Driving, trailing by 5, 6:15 and counting third quarter. Counterplay, Burks. Upfield for about 4, near the 30, maybe 5. Caven Davis, the strong linebacker and leading tackler, makes the stop for St. Aug. It is second down and about 6 yards to go, just inside the 31.
Kenny, you have to have a lot of confidence in your skills and abilities when you do what Burks just did. Just about tried to freeze the defensive back. We got to watch the pursuit doesn't catch you. You got to hit that hole and go, but he knows what he's doing, and he's done it well this afternoon.
Now Parquet, the lone setback. Burks, the wingman, left. Michael in motion. And now we have a flag down. It looked like Rummel may have moved. Little flinch up front. Boy, the penalties have been big time against Rummel today.
Start. Red.
So from 2nd and 6 to 2nd and 11. Changes things quite a bit.
You know, one guy we haven't heard too much from is Willie Gray, and he's being looked at in a lot of big schools, Michigan, LSU, Florida, Florida State, Oklahoma State, and Tulane. And, boy, he follows a long line of outstanding defensive players for the St. Aug Purple Knights.
Coach Jay Roth kneeling, looking on. His dad, Easton, was a tremendous coach here at Rummel. Parquet gets the carry, cuts it in, takes a hit, but look at the effort. He's big and strong, and he's across the 30 near the 29. A gain of 6 before Oliver Celestine makes the stop. This kid's going to grow even more. He's 6'1", 195 already, just a sophomore. It runs a 4.5, as mentioned, and he picks up 6, and it's third down and 4 at the 29.
Kenny, he had a 22.6 yard per carry against Holy Cross. He can break it. We mentioned 260 yards against De La Salle and 130 yards against Holy Cross. Only a sophomore. He'll mature, get stronger and better, and he will be one of the best in 1999.
52 carries, 601 yards, 9 touchdowns on the year coming in. A big 3rd and 4 from the 29. Parquet is the motion man. They give it to Burks left. Picking his way forward. He's close. He is close. Depends on the mark. I mean, he's very close. Looks like, if anything, he might be slightly short. But it depends on the mark as Alred Luke makes the stop. Burks is signaling that we want to go for it because it is 4th down and it's a yard to go. If anything, slightly less than a yard. Rummel has not made a field goal all season long, so there is no decision here.
This is do or die for both of these teams. The winner goes on to the playoffs. The team that loses will just finish out the season, and this is a big situation for both up front lines.
Well, the loser can't go to the playoffs, but the winner definitely will. Power I formation, 4th and 1. Sealing sneaks. Sealing has a first down. Great surge up front on the Rummel offensive line. Rodriguez, Hollinger, and the captain Mirambell inside. Raider first down. Purple Knight 23.
As you mentioned, great surge up front, Ken, and that's one thing that real solid, good technique blocking by the up front. The Hogs, if you will, by the Rummel Raiders, and very few injuries. Rodriguez missed a couple of snaps in the first half, but he's back in there, and he does a great job anchoring that offensive line.
3:20 and counting third quarter. Rummel driving, trailing 19-14. Option play right. The pitch to Burks, in trouble in the backfield. He's hit and he's dropped for a loss. Big play by 19, Michael Audrick. Audrick, the senior, makes a big play. That's the same play Rummel scored on in the first half, but not this time.
Yeah, Audrick was wise to that. You know, he's got good bloodlines. His dad is a coach at Fort Shea High School. He was a starter at free safety in '96, comes up playing his rover position. They allow him some freedoms to freelance. He came up, knew just where he had to be, Ken, and stopped what could have been a big play for the Raiders.
A loss of 4 to the 27. It's 2nd and 14. Wideouts to either side. Parquet in the slot. Fake to Burks. In the flat, knocked away. Great play defensively by Audric, who read it perfectly. He was about a step or a step and a half away from a touchdown.
Well, he knows he's got a great instinct for the ball. We mentioned his dad. I'm sure him and his dad have sat down and watched many football games together. Sealing, handoff, rolling to the left, fake handoff, I should say, and looking for Parquet. No question about it, but Audric, I tell you, he could have been a hero or the GOAT. He could have intercepted. Had he missed that, it could have been Katie bar the door for Parquet.
Now it's 3rd and 14 from the 27. Raiders taking a lot of time getting this play out of the huddle. Going to have to hurry to the line of scrimmage here. Split backs. We haven't seen much of that, and Sealing with a straight drop. He'll run the draw. Design play. He gets a block. He's at the 10. He is at the 5. He's out of bounds inside the 5 with a 1st and goal at the 3. And that was an excellent call by the Raiders, Renee.
Yeah. Excuse me. It opens up the middle for Sealing. He knows just what to do with it. It's like the parting of the Red Sea. And the offensive line just opens up. Good block right there by Rodriguez. So pushes him out the way. Also kick back on the opposite side by Chatelaine and allows Sealing to scoot up the field. Not the fastest, just gets the job done, and a nose for the end zone.
Graziano blocking downfield as well. 1st and goal from the 3. Raiders threatening to take the lead. Power I, and Burks is the deep back. Richardson in the game at the up back spot. The give to Burks. He fights into the end zone for a touchdown, Rummel. And this is a situation where you go for 2, because it's now a 20-19 ball game. You definitely go for 2 here, don't you, Renee?
Well, yeah, you're going to have to go for 2, but I'm going to tell you something, Ken. It's not going to be tough because St. Aug's going to knuckle down right here, and 3 yards is going to be real tough to get against the Purple Knights up front.
Raiders will go for 2. Up by 1 in this situation.
You can expect Burks to get the ball here.
Wouldn't be surprised if they use the same formation, and that's exactly what they're doing. Power I is a great formation down near the goal line. Raiders go for 2, up by a point. Fake by Sealing, and he has got the corner, and a flag is down in the end zone. The conversion is good, but there is a flag down in the end zone, and probably procedure. Boy, that play was well conceived, wide open. It's holding on St. Aug.
It's declined. The point is good.
So holding on the defense, Sealing with a 2-point conversion. Well-conceived play. Timeout on the field. 2:17 to play in the 3rd. Watch it again as Rummel has taken the lead, 22-19. You are watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. For the touchback. Christian Louvier drives it into the end zone. St. Aug will start from its 20. Wind kicks up. Clouds kick up. Rummel has its first lead of the game, 22-19. 2:17 to play in the 3rd.
Kenny, this game, as you all know, is a long way from being over with. This is 2 evenly matched teams. 2 teams in dire need of this game. They really feel like this is a very important game to them, and of course it is. But Michael White, as long as Michael White's in the game and Albert Taylor has an opportunity to run with the ball, the Purple Knights are dangerous from anywhere in the field.
Taylor splits out wide left. He's one of the 4 wide receiver package. Costello outside of him. Bush and Hankton to the right. Deeper drop by White. Lots of time. Now he'll run. And he'll make yardage, but a flag is down. Another flag is down. It's a first down for White, but hold everything. Hold everything as Michael Birch looks on. First flag definitely on St. Aug. Second flag probably on St. Aug. It is holding on the Purple Knights.
And Ken, it's getting a little cloudy around here.
I would say your picture might have gotten a little bit darker as we speak, and it's gotten darker out here in Metairie.
Holding on the offense. Repeat the down.
So a big penalty against the Purple Knights. I believe only their second of the afternoon. This Purple Knight offense has rolled up some big numbers. 377 yards in a win over Errett. 372 in a win over Kennedy. 357 against De La Salle. 343 in a win over Holy Cross. And they're doing it today, but trailing 22-19. First and 20 from the 10. Harrington to the outside, breaks one tackle and another. Boy, he's running hard. He's down for a gain of 3. Polished off by Jeff Lambert. Lambert had 12 tackles, broke up 4 passes in a big one over De La Salle. And he has 4 fumble recoveries this year. Jeff Lambert's a good football player, the leading tackler on the team.
And Harrington, with that great lower body strength, you're not going to take him down one-on-one. He was a tight end in '96, and he's got Oklahoma State, LSU, Tulane, Florida, and Texas for his services next year as a running back.
Gain of 3, second and 17 from the 13, 1:20 and counting, third quarter. Counter play Taylor. Escapes one tackle, but not Lambert's. Lambert has him at about the 21. That's a gain of about 8. A good run by Taylor. But Jeff Lambert is a sure tackler, isn't he?
Yeah, Lambert is the leading tackler on that team. He had 17 stops against South Lafourche, and he not only excels on the football field, but plays baseball as a DH as well for Frankie Cazzo's group. But he made a sure stop right here, coming in and really putting the brakes on Taylor.
Nice block by Horace Williams, the outstanding senior, at 6'4", 288. Third down and 9 for St. Augustine. 35 seconds and counting, third quarter. White wants to throw. He does. The slant is there, and he's gone. There goes Cortez Hankton to the races. 79 yards. Touchdown, Purple Knights.
And that slant, once again, Michael White to Hankton on a string. And boy, I tell you, those guys are on the same wavelength. And Michael White with another touchdown pass. He has done it with his feet or his arm. And Hankton, 6'1", 185, a tall, good receiver. He just hit it, caught it in stride. And Kenny, you're not going to stop Hankton. The senior took it in for the touchdown. And boy, I tell you, he was wide open. Great run, great play called here by the Purple Knight staff.
Cortez Hankton, who had a 27-yard touchdown catch against McDown at 35 in a game that he caught 4 balls in, comes through big time here. Corso to try to make it a 4-point lead, an important extra point to be sure. And the snap is perfect, and the kick is there. 16 seconds to play in the third quarter. St. Aug is back on top. We've got a wild one. The Purple Knights 26, the Raiders 22. You're watching high school football. Following the extra point with 16 seconds to play in the third, it's 26-22. Purple Knights on top. 3 plays, 80 yards, 2:01 off the clock to recapture the lead.
Favorite granddaughter's birthday.
Corso's kicked everything to the right side where Lamy waits for Rummel, and that's where it's heading again. This time from his 5. This time a little running room, and Lamy gets it out to about the 30 as the Raiders do a better job here of creating some area, and they have better field position with 8 seconds to play in the third quarter, trailing St. Augustine 26-22.
You know, Lamy, a good defensive back, but he's a 4'6" guy in the 40, a sprinter, good stride, good return man, and that was his best return of the evening thus far. And good field position at the Raider 30-yard line. It will be interesting to see what Buster Sealing and company have in store for the Purple Knights.
Play comes in from the sideline, twin receivers right, and Parquet in the slot to the right, 50 front for St. Aug. Stretch play, Birch running right. Off of the block, trying to get to the corner, and does. Look at this. Look at him run over a tackler. First down, Burks at the 45. Well, the play looked like it didn't have anything, and Burks just made it have something, didn't he?
Yeah, Brian Holmes had him bottle up back in the backfield, and he had an opportunity to bottle him up, but couldn't hold him in.
As we watch the final play of the third quarter, Michael Burks rambles for 15. We enter the fourth and final quarter of play. Archbishop Rummel trailing the Purple Knights of St. Augustine 26-22. You are watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Michael Burks breaks it, 30, and down to the 25. On the first play of the fourth quarter, Burks continues his assault, a gain of 30 and another Raider first down. The Raider offensive line doing the job, and Burks is gladly stepping up.
Kenny, he's jacked, and so is the crowd here. Two enthusiastic groups here, and St. Aug with a big play. Rummel answers with another big play, and well, I tell you, Burks has really done an outstanding job. It's going to be tough to call a player of the game for this contest.
Well, Michael Burks is chewing up some enormous yardage, and Michael White is chewing up some enormous yardage on the other side of the football. It's pretty much as we anticipated. I believe those are the two guys we spotlighted, didn't we?
We've heard of those two, but don't discount Albert Taylor as well.
Brilliant player, and he needs to get his hands on the football more. This one certainly looks like it's going to be one of those games that whoever has the ball last will win.
Yes.
The way it's unfolding.
And I tell you what, Kenny, we have to credit the officiating crew. We've got a great group of officials here this afternoon, and as always, and they've done a great job. And we both know all these guys, and they've been around a long, long time, seen it all.
I don't know about you, but I'm enjoying this cloud cover that has emerged. No comment. Fine, sir. One note here, Renee, and this perhaps is one of the most telling notes, and one that really might surprise you. In the fourth quarter this year, opponents have outscored Rummel 68-20. So the fourth quarter has been a real problem for Rummel this year, despite a 5-3 record. They'd like to change that here today. They'd like to put some points on the board here and recapture the lead. 11:51 to play. 26-22 St. Aug. First and 10 Rummel from the St. Aug 25. Counter play Burks. Trying to bounce it outside. Now cuts back, has a yard, maybe two, and there is St. Cyr. Jonathan St. Cyr has been huge. In fact, he has been the most impressive player defensively for St. Aug this afternoon.
They've kind of moved Willie Gray around, so you can't get a true read on him. But he's taken a lot of double teams, and that's the reason why some of his teammates are making tackles. But yes, St. Cyr has done an outstanding job playing sideline to sideline, a 6'2", 245-pound junior, and this is his first year in football.
Gain of 2, second and 8 now from the 23. The give to Burks, running to the boundary, cuts it in, past the 20, breaks a tackle. Burks looks to have a first down at about the 12. Well, he just runs through tackles, Renee. He is strong, runs with great lean, and really runs all of his 205 pounds. Really runs bigger than that.
You know, he's a glider, Kenny, and he looks like he isn't moving and putting out the effort, but he glides, and he explodes at the right opportunity, finds a crease, got good vision, and that's the mark of every good back.
Raiders alternate wideouts who come onto the field with the plays from the sideline. Adams has brought the play in. It's first down and 10 from the 12. Adams to the left, Poche to the right. Straight I formation this time behind Seelig. This is Burks. Inside the 10, near the 8. Has about 4. St. Cyr is there again. I guarantee you Jonathan St. Cyr has to be in double figures of tackles here this afternoon.
He'll be in double digits in the second half alone. St. Cyr has played all over the place, and he's fighting off blocks. He's gained a lot more attention, Kenny, because he is making so many tackles, and the Rummel Raider offense is very aware of Jonathan St. Cyr.
Robbie Howard, a good receiving tight end, comes out. Joey Markey, a good blocking tight end, is in on second down. And a short 7, a long 6, if you will, near the 8. Burks left. Great blocking up front. But he is hit and down. Looked like the hole was inside, but he ran wide, and he's hit for a loss of a yard, or maybe no gain on the play, it appears, near the 8, possibly the 7, maybe a yard gain.
Chris Oates comes down. Number 21, helmet to helmet, with number 21, Michael Burks. And you can see Oates also. Yeah, he had a crease right here, Ken, and it would have been a tough cutback here. Also, Algier is kind of spreading it out a little bit as he skates along the line and scrapes off and doesn't get in on the tackle, but he's the reason why that play went so wide.
It's a good block by Edgar Algier, or rather a good job of stringing it out by Edgar Algier for St. Aug. It's 3rd down and 5 for a first from the 7. Burks the lone setback. Fake by Sealing. He's in big trouble. Evades a tackler, still rolling, still looking, throws incomplete, and a flag is down. Maybe a late hit against St. Aug, and what a huge penalty that would be. Sealing on the roll. It is a personal foul, and it's against St. Aug. Oh, my. What a huge penalty here against the Purple Knights.
And Kenny, of course, as all penalties are, it's unintentional. It's just a play, a Purple Knight defense hustling right here, and Luke trying to make a big play. He's hot on the trail of Buster Sealing, and just a little.
To the head. It's a first down.
There it is right there, and it's a good call because that's what we didn't see initially. It wasn't a big hit, but it was a hit to the head, and that's illegal. You cannot hit the quarterback or anyone, for that matter, in the head, and that's what occurred. And it is a personal foul, and thus a first down, 1st and goal from the 3, and maybe the biggest play of the game right there.
And Oates was probably just trying to obstruct his vision by instead of hitting him in the head, and unfortunately, a judge of the referee.
Power I formation behind Sealing. Quick snap. Burks the carry. Burks to the end zone. Touchdown, Rummel. Michael Burks with his 3rd touchdown of the game.
And here's Burks just going through a crease here, good leg strength, and he is spent. I tell you what, Michael Burks has emptied his bucket, and his 3rd touchdown, and Kenny, he's going to rest easily. You see the drop start to come down.
And an excellent block by the tight end, Robbie Howard, on the play to help spring Burks. It is raining. Extra point attempt by Fuchs, trying to put him up by 3, and he does. Time out on the field, 9:13 to play. It is now Rummel 29, St. Augustine 26. You are watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Raiders have recaptured the lead by 3 on a 7-play, 70-yard drive, 2:55 off the clock. Louvier to boot it away. Hits it low, but Taylor is going to, nope, he doesn't get his hands on it. Misses the ball, and now it's a touchback. Well, they kicked it low, it looked like, intentionally, trying not to let Taylor get his hands on it. He doesn't, and it's a touchback. St. Aug has it at the 20. Michael Burks now has carried 28 times for 207 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. And now Michael White goes back on offense on the attack, and we'll update his numbers in a moment. They have been special. Purple Knights break the huddle. A good look at Michael Burks. What an afternoon he's had in Metairie. Single setback, Arrington behind White. Fakes it in the flat. Now he'll run. And boy, he's run for yardage today, and he's doing so again for about 7. Tackle made by Jeff Lambert. Again, he's a sure tackler for Rummel. Well, Michael White has hurt Rummel with both his legs and his arm, as we've alluded to this afternoon. The thing about it is he makes quick decisions, and that's what you have to do.
And Kenny was looking for his 2nd and 3rd receivers. Couldn't find anyone open. Look, he's looking for a little pass out here in the flat. Can't find him. Looking up the field. There's no one there, no one home, so he's taking off and heading, scooting up the sidelines. Not for a first down, but a nice pickup. 2nd and a 7-yard gain by White.
2nd and 3 from the 27. 8:30 to play and counting. Rummel leading by 3. White wants to throw again, and it is incomplete. This time, a good play by Jason Maenza, who jumped that route. It was intended for Theodore Bush. Rummel's been playing a little bit off of the receivers, understandably so, because they have such great speed and they're such big threats. That time, Maenza was up tight, and he made a good play.
You know, Rummel's in a catch-22 situation here, Kenny. It's tough to defense against this play right here. And if you bring that safety up, they're going to go long on you. And so it's a tough situation. It puts a lot of pressure on that safety, and Jeremy Roussel has done a good job. He comes up, and they're going to go back door, they're going to go behind him, and it's going to, you know, puts him in a tough situation. He's on a hot seat.
Here's a big 3rd and 3 from the 27, but Taylor is the setback, so it's a possible run despite 4 wideouts. And it will be a run. The option play. White has room, has a first down across the 35 to the 37. He's got 10, and an excellent call by St. Aug. This reminds you a little bit of Tulane. They spread you out and then pop it on you. Take men out of the box and then open some running lanes. Good blocks right here.
Yeah, White is tossed for a couple of touchdowns this afternoon, and he can do it with his legs as well. And, oh, almost lost the ball right there. But the 6'2", 192-pound senior, quite a threat with his hands on the ball. There's Arrington. We expect to hear from him. He's quite a load at 228.
Good block by Albert Jones, the guard. 1st and 10, the 37-yard line. Again, the 4 wideout set. White with a straight keeper. Cuts it in. He's got room again. He's shaking tackles and out to the 43 for about 6. Clock finally wraps him up along with Sangerson, but it is a 6-yard gain. Right about now, if you're on offense, what you'd like to do is hold the ball and drive the ball and keep the ball out of the opposing offense's hands, and that's what St. Aug is doing.
And White is doing a great job by himself keeping the ball with Albert Taylor. Most of the attention is going to Taylor, but White is really doing a job running with the ball this 4th quarter.
2nd and 4 at the 43. He's doing it both ways, isn't he? Under 7 minutes to play as we speak. White taking his time. Inside, Hebert, big hole, first down across midfield. He's down to the Rummel 48. Dennis Hebert, a junior, at 5'9", 200, who had a 5-yard touchdown run and a win over Eric, comes through here for a first down. St. Aug. Official timeout here.
And he's, you know, he was a guy that played linebacker in 96, was a running back in 95, and he's moved back to the running back position. Only a junior will be back, but they feel like this kid is quite an athlete. He probably will be playing baseball in college. He's an outstanding player for the Purple Knight baseball team.
Horace Williams had to leave with an equipment problem. And Desmond Taylor, 73, comes in to replace him at right tackle. And now we have the whistle again and another official timeout. And now it appears a Rummel player has an equipment problem. That's not an equipment problem. That's Lambert. He has an arm that's cut as we speak. And, of course, they will make you tend to that. They won't let you play with the blood that way. So Rummel will have to bring in 41, Michael Dubuque, to replace Lambert. And they know they want to get Lambert patched up and back out there. White is now 8 of 15, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns in this game. 1st and 10 from the Rummel 48. White again quick, and a pass incomplete. Bush couldn't quite get to it. Kirkley in coverage stops the clock with 6:12 to play.
Big down right here, Ken, and you know, 2nd and 10 now, and White, you expect White to do some type of option or something. He's really been a dangerous and drawing so much attention with his feet. In fact, he's been more dangerous here in this quarter running on the ground than he has with his arm.
That's the story with 6:12 to play. What a ball game we've had this afternoon here at Yenning. 2nd and 10 from the 48. White, deep middle, caught, first down, inside the 30, down to the 29. That is Cortez Hankton. And a gain of 19, and the numbers continue to pile up, and Hankton is having a big game.
Hankton already has a touchdown to his credit, and just a great throw right here. A little behind Hankton, but right on the mark, and Hankton with a first down inside the 30-yard line. Under 6 minutes to go, Ken.
That is some catch by Hankton, sliding, ball behind him. That's a brilliant catch. A good look at Cortez, the senior. from the Rummel 29, 5:45 and counting. Inside, this is Taylor. He's across the 20. He's down near the 18, or rather across the 25 to the 23, pardon me. Took a big hit, and he's slow to get up. Sangerson was one of those involved in the hit. It's a gain of about 5. Let's watch it again. Kirkley also there.
Yeah, Kirkley with the body snatch here, Ken. He really escorted him to the turf. And watch this collision right here between Taylor and Kirkley.
So with the injury on the field, we'll take a timeout. 5:29 to play with our score. Rummel 29, St. Augustine 26. You are watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Field cannot put any weight on his left leg whatsoever, and that is not a pleasant sight. What a game he's had. What a player he is. Had a big touchdown catch against Jesuit. Also caught 2 touchdowns against Holy Cross. Big game against Kennedy, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's out of there. Came into this game with a twisted ankle. He's now putting his foot down, and that's good, but he's out of there. It is 2nd and 5 from the 23. We have 5:20 and counting to play. Rummel clings to a 3-point lead. Twin receivers to either side. Burns, the running back. Damon Burns behind Michael White. White is hit. He's dropped. Sangerson was there. Kirkley was there. Rummel blitzing, and they get White on the 1-step drop. And it will be 3rd down and about 6. Line of scrimmage ends up being the 25-yard line, so we'll call it 3rd and 7.
You know, with Taylor out of there, Ken, it kind of eliminates some of your options. White just had the Rummel defense converge on him, and just, boy, I tell you, that pocket collapsed quickly. And this is the first time they've got to him, and the St. Aug up front has really kept his jersey clean.
Pratt had the initial pressure. 3rd down and 7, the 25. Blitz coming, and the pitch is on the turf. It's picked up, though, by Burns. He's dropped for a big loss. Jerome Wiltz up from safety makes the stop, and now it's 4th and long for the Purple Knights. The Raider fans love it.
I think that was Moicano is the one that made the initial hit on Michael White and kind of altered his pitch just a wee bit and didn't have Burns. Burns did not have a great pitch, and because of the pressure that White got, picks it up, tries to do from it. But I tell you what, you can't do much when you're 15 yards in the backfield, 4th down. Big play here. I mean, what do you do, Kenny?
Well, you've got to go for it, of course, with 3:51 to play. It's 4th and 17, and the way they've thrown the ball, it's eminently makeable for the Purple Knights. It certainly looks like Rummel's best defense is blitzing at this point to disrupt that passing attack, because White has been brilliant. When he's had time, he's had receivers, and they're making plays.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of pressure on the corners. On Mayenza and Lamy, Wiltz, and Roussel. Really, it's going to be a tough play right here, because you know that White's going to be dealing long.
Well, he's had some big games, White. Of course, the game against Brother Martin, 17 of 27, 278 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's had other big games as well this year. 11 of 18, 191 yards, 3 touchdowns against Errett. Also 14 of 29, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns against Jesuit. 3 touchdown passes against Holy Cross. You get the picture. Scene is set. It is 4th and 17. St. Aug from the Rummel 36. They will go for it with 3:51 to play. This crowd is on its feet. Look at this. What a setting. Twin receivers right. Single receiver left. Plus a slot man. Setback is Dennis Herbert. White to pass. He's throwing deep toward the end zone. Jump ball intercepted by Rummel. Picked off by Mayenza near the 5. Jason Mayenza with a pick near the 5 in a jump ball situation. He comes up with his 2nd interception of the season, and what a time for that.
Well, he made the play. You may say, well, could have knocked it down, Kenny. The Rummel coaches are just glad to see Rummel with the ball back in their possession with 3:41 remaining. Of course, they have to do something with it. Mayenza really read the quarterback's eyes. Bush got deep, but the ball was just a little short, and Mayenza credited a good defensive effort by Jason Mayenza.
This game far from over. Rummel is pinned back at its own 6-yard line with 3:41 to play. And if they cannot make a first down, St. Augustine will have yet another chance to perhaps win this football game. Right now, it's on the Purple Knight defense.
Yes, exactly, Ken.
1st and 10, Rummel at its own 6. Burks the deep back. Quick snap, gets the ball. Finds some running room out to about the 10. He has 4. Clock will run. Quick snap there. Running behind the blocking of Mirambell, their captain. Michael White now 10 of 17, 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Burks with another carry on that play. And he adds another 4 yards to his total. Clock should be under 3 minutes when this ball is snapped. 2nd down and 6 for Rummel at its own 10. Jay Roth looking on, knows it's far from over. How the conditions have changed here as the evening has gone on. Burks now 29 carries, 211 yards. This will probably be his 30th carry of the game. It is not much. Maybe a yard. Big play by Celestine, and now it's 3rd down and about 5. And the biggest play of the game forthcoming here. If the Purple Knights can hold, they're going to get the football back in great shape.
And a lot of time, and Michael White doesn't need much time to cause some havoc on the Raider defense. Instructions to Joey Markey as he scoots back into the huddle.
Well, what a game these fans have seen here this afternoon. We've done some good ones this year, but this one might be the best.
I would have to concur, Kenny.
3rd down and 4, officially near the 12. They need to get past the 15, near the 16 for a first down, and they run out of the power eye and 2 tight ends, everybody tight. And a quick snap, and Burks with the ball, and Burks is fighting, but he'll never get there. And the Purple Knights have held. Coming up with a stop is Chris Oates, along with Jonathan St. Cyr, and Rummel has to punt it away. And remember, the last time they did so, Costello returned it for a touchdown.
And this is going to be a lot of pressure on the special teams, because we have mentioned all afternoon how St. Aug's special teams has really stepped up and made a major difference. And here's a defensive front that has been tough running against this whole season, stepped up, made a big play, and was really counted on when the chips were down, Kenny.
There's a replay. The defense stacked him up, and now a punting situation for Pat Murphy, who stands in his end zone here. The deep snapper is Randlett. Twin receivers deep. Remember, Costello returned one for a touchdown earlier. Rummel looking like they'll take a penalty, and they will, with 1:15 to play. Flag down, and this is going to be too much time against Rummel, I'm certain. And that's by design. They wanted to take some more time off the clock.
Whoa. I hope that was a flash ball, but not lightning. It was lightning.
Hey, we're suspending the game for a minute.
They're going to suspend this game, it sounds like, for a minute because of the weather.
Okay.
Lightning and thunder roaring in the background. No, they're not. You heard him say he was going to suspend it, but now they're going to play as it's gotten extremely dark. And now timeout Rummel, it appears. Rummel takes a timeout with 1:15 to play. We'll take a timeout as well. 29-26 Raiders cling to the lead. You are watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Here, he is going to take a safety. That's the decision that is made. Rain comes down harder. Lightning strikes near and around this stadium with 1:06 to play. It's now 29-28 as the Rummel staff decides to take a safety.
That doesn't surprise me at all, Ken. In fact, I was just going to say before the break there, I wouldn't have been surprised something like this happens. It gives Rummel a little more breathing room now, and with 66 ticks to go, St. Aug can take it. And that one-point advantage is really not much of a difference here. So a smart move by Jay Roth and his staff.
Well, now a field goal could win it for St. Aug, however, as opposed to tying it. You have to keep that into consideration in this scenario. It's extremely dark. Lights are not on. As you get a look at the ominous skies, lightning all around. and dark, and the wind howling across the field as we speak. St. Aug will get the football on a free kick from the 20. It looks like Rummel's going to place kick it here. And that's Louvier, of course. There's your story, a 1-point game, 1:06 to play. Costello will be in the deep position for St. Augustine. Of course, remember, Albert Taylor went out with an injury a few minutes ago. So this one will be on the coverage teams and the defensive Rummel now as the focus has shifted. Louvier to kick it off for the Raiders. Hits it high, hits it well. This ball's hit to the 15. Here comes Costello. Outside, shakes a tackle. He's got speed. He's near the 45. Wiltz has him. 56 seconds to play. St. Aug down by 1. Now a field goal could win the game. They don't need a touchdown.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, White has the capabilities of driving the Purple Knights into field goal position, Kenny, and I tell you what, this rain is not going to be to the advantage of the Purple Knights.
But it did just start to be heavy a few moments ago, as that's a good return by Costello. Purple Knights football, 56 seconds left, near their own 46. The running back for St. Augustine is 34, Dennis Hebert. Receivers to either side, 4 of those. White barks signals. Back to pass with time. In the flat, incomplete. And a good hit, and the clock stops with 52 seconds left as the hit was made by Kirkley, and not getting up is the receiver Theodore Bush. He took quite a pop from Kirkley. And now downfield, an injury to Cortez Hankton. He's limping. Boy, a lot of injuries to Purple Knight players here. Taylor is out with an injury. Hankton is limping badly and falls down on the turf downfield as you watch the big hit being applied by Kirkley. Bush is down. You talk about a total sellout by 2 teams. This has been it. Let's take the timeout as they tend to. Theodore Bush with 52 seconds to play. 29-28 our score. You're watching the WHNO High School Game of the Week. Hankton's out of the game. 4 wideouts set nonetheless. Rummel showing blitz, and they are coming. White gets a block, throws wide open, nobody there, but slipping and falling onto the turf is Eugene Costello. A break for Rummel. Bad break St. Aug as Costello slipped. He had some room to run. Timeout St. Aug. 43 seconds left. We'll keep it right here.
You know, Costello's already turned a kick into a punt into a touchdown already. He's got that 4.5 speed. We compared him to a couple of pretty good athletes that have come through here. He was mainly a basketball player, has transferred, as we said. And if you remember a couple of guys, Chris Coward, who went from basketball, played football, and went on to Florida State and the San Diego Chargers, and Matthew Glapion, who played briefly after a basketball career with the Purple Knights, now toiling away for the Tulane Green Wave. And they feel like Costello, Kenny, does have the abilities to play in college. He just doesn't have the experience.
Gain of 2 on the play. It's 3rd and 8. I do believe that was the final timeout for the Purple Knights. It comes with 43 seconds left. So anything in the field of play will keep the clock running here. Of course, an incomplete pass will stop it, and a first down would stop it momentarily. Weather hasn't chased these fans off. Raider players pleading for noise from their side of the field. Purple Knight side of the field likewise. Look at these kids. That's what high school football is all about, isn't it? 3rd and 8 from the 48. Rummel showing blitz and coming. White rolling, trying to get away from the pressure, and does. He pumps, he throws, and it's caught. Caught and evading a tackler down the sidelines and out of bounds with a first down on the play is 34, Dennis Hebert, and what a job by White to evade pressure again. He's done it all day.
Yeah, and White really felt the heat coming and stayed there as long as he possibly could, and finally he delivered a pass to Hebert and scooted down the sidelines. You can see, boy, I tell you what, there were bombs going off all around him. The heat was getting bad back there. Finally let it go. And safety valve down the sidelines for a first down, and more importantly, stopping the clock, Ken.
And it's brightening up, and the rain is stopping, and it's 1st and 10 from the 39, 33 seconds to play. Hankton is back in the game for St. Aug in the slot left. White to throw. He's looking with lots of time. Flag down. Deep pass. and intercepted by Rummel. Slipping down with the interception for Rummel is Lamy. And a flag is down, but likely holding, and it is on St. Aug. And with 23 seconds left, Rummel has the pick. The ball is going to be at their own 1. They still got to snap the football. St. Aug has no timeouts.
And I tell you what, Kenny, the thing is right here. He's dropping back, a little pressure on him, and some wet conditions here. Maybe did not get a great grip, but a good spiral on the ball right there. And Lamy read the eyes and fell down. I tell you, this is not where he wanted to go down, at the 1-yard line. And the problem here is you just can't step back and kneel down.
No, you can't kneel on the ball here.
That's right, Kenny. But in wet conditions, anything can happen. 23
You're right, Renee.
I would not salt this a game away.
Schilling will not hand this ball off. He will take the snap and try to sneak it and stay out of the end zone. Remember, a safety wins it for St. Augustine. From the 1-yard line, everybody tight. Sneak by Sealing, stays in the field to play, and that should do it for Rummel. Sneaks for a yard. St. Aug cannot stop the clock. What a finish. What a finish here. As the clock winds down, the Rummel Raiders apparently will hold on for a thrilling come-from-behind 29-28 win. The clock expires. Rummel wins it 29-28. What a football game here in Yeni this evening. Back in just a moment. You're watching high school football on the WHNO High School Game of the Week.